statements, and we'll take some questions.
All right, last padded practice in the books. Another very physical day. I'm proud the guys have been able to get through the whole spring with a lot of great physicality, a lot of great effort. So we've got our last NCAA mandated non-padded practice on Thursday. So we'll do some work that's going to obviously be a little less physical, rehearse some things that we'll do in the spring game, and then be ready to go Saturday.
Have you decided how to divide teams up yet?
Yeah, we're going to play offense, defense. We just don't quite have enough bodies to go into two full squads. It's close, but you just don't want to get in too many situations where you lose one guy and then it turns into a little bit of a mess. So, but we're going to play a full half of football. Guys are going to get after it. So you'll see. We'll have a little scoring system that we've used before that we'll announce here before the game that we tried a few years ago and thought was really successful when we had a roster that was also a little bit low. So a way to kind of make it competitive but not have too many crazy different scoring options so people can keep up with it. So, but should be a great half of football. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm excited again about all our administration's done to really push this game.
What do you feel like you've accomplished in terms of implementing the offense, and what do you still have left to do before the season opens?
I would say the base offense is installed. I mean, it is. We've come a long way here in the last, especially the last 2 weeks. We've really made up some ground. So I think we're to the point now where we look pretty functional most of the times. We understand what to do. We're starting to understand some of the adjustments, and now we'll obviously finish up these two, and then we'll see, what the skill sets end up being across the board, and we'll start to try to morph it into making it as good for our skill sets that we have here as possible, and then get ready to go into fall camp.
Anything you're looking to see in particular, goals, anything you set ahead of the spring game?
On Saturday specifically, I think, I said last night, on the show, I think you got to, handle and respect the opportunity to be in the Coliseum, to get a chance to play football in there, and any chance you get to walk in there with all the greats that have been on that field, you better appreciate it and set a tone and a standard for what football should look like on that field. So that's number one by a mile. Second would be, first time for us, some fans in the stands, national TV audience, making sure that all these things we've worked to do, install, that ought to show up on Saturday. We don't need guys that kind of get out, start to do their own thing, lose sight of all the progress that we've made. So I think, one word, trusting all that we've done, put it on display on Saturday, and that'll be enough.
Being on national TV, is there hesitation to show too much offensively for opponents in this season?
We'll be smart about it. We're pretty used to spring games, getting out to other people, so we'll be smart about it.
Any position groups in particular you're excited to kind of hone in on and watch closely in this game?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the tight ends. I feel like they've made a little bit of a jump here in the last week or so. So hopefully they can certainly carry that over. I think anytime you get in a live situation, just to see our tackling, how well that we can tackle both guys in a one-on-one situation, and obviously rallying to the ball and finishing plays. And then I always in these games want to look towards penalties, and obviously you're going to have an aggressive one here and there, but can we avoid the dumb penalty, the selfish penalty, the pre-snap penalty, all of those? And so that's a couple of keys that we'll sort of be looking at.
Are you happy to just let whatever red zone or goal line situations happen organically, or do you kind of want to engineer some of those over the course of Saturday?
We've gotten quite a bit here, so I don't feel the need that we have to engineer it, but if it comes up, we're gonna turn it loose.
How was Caleb's familiarity with you and obviously you guys working together translated to some of the receivers in terms of helping them with the system?
Yeah, no, it's helped having him. Offensively, having Mario, having Latrell defensively, some guys that have been in the system. It makes a difference. They're a step ahead in the beginning, and now the other guys have caught up. But just to have them there to be able to explain, to watch extra film with the guys, to be out here throwing when we coaches can't be out here. Just another kind of experienced person there. So it's certainly been a big help. It's been a difference maker for us.
With portal season coming back up again, we talked a bunch of the transfers this spring, and a lot of them said that you guys were the first school to call. It happened within a half hour. What's the protocol there when the guy hits the portal for you finding out and putting the wheels in motion?
Evaluate them first, which is pretty easy nowadays, especially if they played any college ball. That's pretty easy. We get them evaluated pretty quickly. Start to do our homework on his background, and then, but it does move quickly. I mean, listen, you gotta make up your mind pretty quick on if you want to pursue them or not. And so we've now. I hate to say we've kind of become pros at it. We've done it enough. So we kind of have our routine when a guy goes in of exactly who's responsible for what, kind of how it gets to each coach, how we evaluate not only the on the field, but the off the field, the academic situation, all of that, and then just trying to find guys that check all the boxes. So it's obviously going to be a pretty active time here for the next few weeks.
Let's do one more.
You mentioned midway through spring camp that this next stretch is kind of where the great teams separate themselves, averages fall out. Have you kind of acknowledged, what is your assessment of the second half?
We've not handled the second half like an average team. We haven't. Now, I mean, don't confuse that with there's not a long ways to go. There's a long ways to go, but I do feel like we have gotten a lot out of the spring. I'll come out and say it when I don't think we've had a good practice or when we haven't done well, but the guys have put a lot of effort and energy into this practice and into this practice period. They've responded to the things we've put in front of them. I mean, it's the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink it. And that is so true in coaching. And this group has been everything we've put in front of them. It hasn't all been perfect, but they are really, there's a real sincere effort to try to do everything that we're asking them to do. And if they'll keep doing that, keep listening, kind of keep that humility that we have right now as a group, I think we'll continue to improve quickly.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, everybody.